Hey, what's going on everyone? Cardboard.Capitan here, and today I am here with my top 10 cards from Lorwyn Eclipsed, plus some predictions I see based of the cards previewed that's gonna be impacting the meta. With this top 10 list, I'm gonna start from the bottom at 10 with cards that look fun, have potential, and the upper level, like 5 through 1, will be cards that I see fitting into already strong decks, making them stronger. So to get started, let's go to number 10. Furdock Core. It's a mana rock, but what I find most interesting about it is it's a shapeshifter, which means you drop this and you instantly have every creature type on the board. Right now, the standard for mana rocks are 3, with the exception being legendary mana rocks, like Terminus, and there's another one in standard, but this is Alchemy, so ignore that. But I see this working really well, making Unholy Annex strong, because you can drop this on turn 3 and then get the 6/6 Flying Demon token turn 4, or if you get this later and you have Annex down, you can continuously drain life at the end of the turn with this. Also worth noting, you can animate this with 4 mana, so it's excellent in a control shell. I see it in Demon Midrange being a card for that. Number 9, this is more of a, hey, this is cool, Soul Immolation. Yes, it deals damage to each opponent, but it also deals damage to the creature. Now, if you pair this with a large toughness creature with like Walls of Ba Sing Se or Ancient Adamantoise, if the opponent didn't gain life, they're just dead. So the hard part is getting these high mid-range costed cards onto the field. And since this is an additional cost, it has an additional cost of putting those blight tokens on the creature, then it's a little more bulletproof, but you still gotta watch out for removal. So, see how that goes. Personify. Okay, so a lot of the blink effects in Alchemy, bring back the creature at the end of the turn. So I'm looking at like Charming Prince or the Stalker card. I forget what the name of it is, but they bring back the creature at the end of the turn. And there are times when you want to blink a creature and have it return right away. So like I've been playing a Boros blink deck this season, and there are times when I want to use Flame Tongue Kavu over and over to remove a blocker to swing in for damage. So Personify is instant blink. In addition to that Boros blink deck I posted on X and I just talked about now, I also see this in Azorius blink decks, because in a way it's a counterspell also. Like if a opponent tries to use targeted removal to remove a creature, you blink it and then that spell fizzles. And what's nice is you also get a 1/1 shapeshifter token. So in addition to the Possibility Technician and Mind Security deck that I'm always excited about, Jokai was buffed recently, and while there were some people who tried playing with it, the mana base wasn't there. So I see some people maybe trying it again with this and some of the new shock lands from the set, but I'll come back to those. Glen Elendra Guardian. Lorwyn is a tribal set, first and foremost, but there's plenty of good flash cards. So there's a Bear Blossom creature, but this one stood out to me because I see it more as being able to function outside of a fairy deck. It's a nice control creature. and it has flash, and you can remove a counter to counter a non-creature spell. So I like it. Not much to say about besides that. Um, and there's no cave of uncounterability. I don't know the name of that cave, but it's the cave where creatures can be uncounterable. So yeah, this is a good control creature. Okay, Tam Mindful First Year. If you ever played Mother of Runes, that's going to mess you over if you play targeted removal. And this I see as, hey, this is similar to Mother of Runes in that it can punish targeted removal, but worth noting is it doesn't give protection. So stuff like making a creature unblockable or having enchantments fall off a creature isn't possible with this, but you can negate targeted removal. So again, a good utility creature. The only downside is it's a Gorgon wizard, so there isn't much support from Lorwyn itself for wizards or Gorgon, so it'll have to be a non-tribal deck. Okay, Seer. Seer is targeted red removal, and it just power crept the red dragon breath removal you probably see in Temur's Dragons. The only thing I'd like to note besides that, Iroh's Demonstration might be a better choice. Ignore this depending on Planeswalkers things. But Demonstration's real good against birds at times, so depending on how much birds and other flying decks come about, that might be the better choice. Okay. Spell Snare, it's a counter spell that hits a lot of stuff. Quarry Steel Cutter, Cub, Dispelling Exhale, Fountain Port Charmer, Fuel Tank Feaster, removal like Heartless Act. It's just good utility, nothing much to say. Depending on how the meta evolves, it might be main board, it might be sideboard. Just have to see. Okay, Requiting Hex. Anyway, it's Fatal Push with an additional effect. The meta right now is very low to the ground, so you're seeing a lot of fast creatures like Ostrug Signet, Badger Cub, and so on, and this is targeted removal for that. There's some tricks with Blight. I can't think of any offhand, but if you want to destroy one of your creatures for leaving the battlefield effect, or if you just need some life, then, you know, that's an option. But again, it's just Fatal Push. Okay, all of the Shocklands really are welcome. Hallowed Fountain, I'll put at the top of them because of Azorius Flyers. Even though there's multi-versus passage, a lot of the early plays of Azorius Flyers use white or blue. So for white, you want Signet, you want Momo. For blue, you want Mockingbird. In some versions, you'll run Splash Portal to blink some creatures. And it's a very strong deck. I've been playing it the past few days. I can only see it getting stronger with Fountain itself. As a side note, Jeskai is also an option. Again, I mentioned Jokai earlier. There may be some other control decks with a lot of removal. Shiko for recursion, stuff like that. So, very welcome addition. I'm not sure about the second. Might be Blood Crypt, but Hallowed Fountain, it stands up out of all five of them. Okay, finally, Formidable Speaker. It just adds a lot of consistency. So, you drop this on turn 3, you get Ouroboros. Turn 4, you get Caballero, turn 4. You get Kona for turn 4. A lot of the, I guess, momentum turning plays happen on turn 4, and this makes it a lot more consistent. As far as individual decks, you can use this to discard mana dorks in cub decks to get a better payoff. You can use this to discard cards for Reanimator. So, as I mentioned before, Caballero, possibly Yuna. I haven't seen any Yuna decks at all. So, this might bring her back. Kona, maybe for best of 1. I play best of 3, so... and for dragons, so with dragons, you can use this to bring back Stonehide Ancient, possibly at a reduced cost from Fountain Port Charmer or Fuel Tank Feaster, and then Stonehide Stonehide Ancient comes in, returns all the creatures back, swings, goes back in your deck. You play this, you play Prodigy, Stonehide Ancient swings in, you continue until you win the game. So this might be addition for that deck. So I put it number 1 not only for its utility, but also for the possibility of decks it improves. So let me go to the meta predictions now. More creature-based decks. Lorwyn's a tribal deck. Or not a tribal deck. A tribal set with elves, goblins, Kithkin, fairies. So naturally, there's going to be more creatures. A lot of the meta in Alchemy Best of 3 is also creature-based. So expect creatures, and if you want an advantage, pack removal against those creatures. Targeted removal can be difficult, except intimidation tactics, or expect intimidation tactics in board wipes. So why I say targeted removal can be difficult, a lot of decks will flood the board, they'll go wide, so targeted removal can struggle against that. And there's also some of the cards I mentioned beforehand, so I'm expecting more Day of Judgments, Villainous Wrath from Black, stuff like that, in this up-and-coming meta. Omni can be a possibility if people focused on board presence. So if a lot of people start playing creature decks, there's plenty of combos still in the format that can just win. Besides Omni, Omni is just the most hated because people hate seeing through the combo. But there's a combo I mentioned earlier with Bossing Say and other high toughness creatures. Don't know how good it is, but you know, it's there. There's also Bloodthirsty Conqueror and Enduring Tenacity and Starscape Cleric with some damage or some life gain, and that's a instant win combo. So, you know, if people play non-interactive flood the board type aggro, look out for combo. More graveyard decks. So in addition to the Formidable Speaker, I did see some cards that interact with the graveyard heavily. Like there's one, whenever a creature comes from your graveyard, make a copy of it. That's pretty interesting. Maybe real good for Cantor style decks too. But pack some removal. I'm not sure if the Lantern's the best option. Leyline of the Void, Ghost Vacuum, so just be aware of that. Less lessons due to Spell Snare and high targeted removal. Yeah. So, isn't lessons could be good. I haven't seen much in the later part of the seasons. I stopped playing it recently for now. But lessons, you gotta do more than put down talent tokens and Corey Steel card tokens. So I see that going down. More birds, possibly going 3 colors for Zokai. Um, yeah, so I'm actually playing Azorius Flyers right now. Even though Ostrug, Signet, and Mockingbird were nerfed, the deck has a lot more BS going on with it. Uh, I'll definitely cover it at the end of the season, but I don't want to give away all the tech yet. So, um, yeah, expect more birds, especially with Hallowed Fountain. Demon midrange, I touched on that with the Rock, number 10, but I think that card alone uh, is going to make people want to try it again. And also worth noting, um, there's a lot of changelings. I don't know if any of them are good. I know there's one that makes Mutavault tokens, so that might go in like a green-black demon mid-range deck. I'll try it out. Finally, Lorwyn Tribal isn't looking too strong. Now this one, I'm most tentative about, but it's one of those things where you have to see how each card is going to interact with each other. So could be right, could be wrong. It's just studying each card in a vacuum. It's hard to see these interactions. So wait and see. But with that said, let me go to the outro. Alright, thanks for watching. You can find me on X under the username Cardboard.Capitan. You can find me on Moxfield, where you can find this deck and various other Alchemy decks I enjoy playing under the username Cardboard_Capitan. And if you enjoyed the content, do like, do comment, do subscribe. I will see you all next time.